I just don't see anything in here that really is going to result in the elimination of the business, though.
Okay.
I think that what you're going to see is you're going to see that business owner have resources available to them through insurance proceeds.
Okay.
That they can either look at their lot and say, okay, I can do this, I'm going to make it work, I'm going to shrink the footprint, or I'm going to just move my building over so I have setbacks conforming on both sides, or maybe I need additional parking so they pave some more space or buy a little land from a neighbor. Or they could take that business and now move it on the other side of the street and down a block where there's a little bit bigger parcel. So, you know,
I understand where you're coming from, but
through the Zoning Board of Appeals and through the economic resources that the calamity brings, I guess I just don't see this as saying, if it really ends up being that harsh where the parcel is not workable, that the Zoning Board of Appeals is going to not come up with a solution that makes sense. Now, what it does is it forces cooperation from public and private interests. But
we don't have a lot of general business land available.
yeah, well, but you also have to remember that if you're going to do this, it's going to be general business and commercial and industrial. I mean, we got to look at what it is. But you know, you could also find that ideal parcel that you come in and ask for it to be rezoned general business.
Oh, that's true.
with the way that things are right now, and the tightening of this up, or making it not easy by putting those regulations in there, I can tell you, just from a dinner conversation with the owner of Vinnie's, they were very, 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 very upset at how they had to conform in the manner that they did. Had they had the ability to move right across the street into Fort Gratiot, and I can tell you that the owner, the one that put the money into it, regretted not doing that. Seriously regretted not doing that. And
well, I think that's totally.
It's a similar situation of putting a hardship on a business. It's my only point.
Well, in just one defense of these folks, and not that they need defending, is everything that has happened has been to loosen the restrictions. The Planning Commission went one step, the board went another step and a half further. So it's not a question of anybody creating harder ordinances. The question is how far do we go in the loosening process? Everything that they've done has been pro-business. Now the question is, you know, to what degree do we go? So I think that I can very comfortably say everything that they've done has been to be receptive to business and to make it easier to rebuild.
Well, I agree, you know. I think that taking out the exceeding the 60%, you know, and I'm just bringing this up again as devil's advocate. Are we being too lenient? I mean, that's, like I said, I was not sitting on any of these boards or planning commissions, so I don't know what the intent, you know, I take it that the intent at the time was to, you know, bring us up to non-conforming, so eventually we get back to where, you know, our buildings and stuff are all, you know.
That's a long stretch, Mike. You've got all those cottages.
It's pretty well total impossibility as long as you've got 40-foot lots.
I agree.
50-foot lots.
And I understand.
You've already taken care of the residents.
Right.
Yeah, the residents are all taken care of.
But anything built after 2006, when this was adopted, also has to follow the code.
You know, the thing is, if you accept that the way it is, then they're too strict. Okay, we knock out the 60%, they're going to say, oh, well, you know, they're just giving away the farm. You know, and I don't have a problem. That's why we're having this meeting. If that's what the board chooses to do, and everybody is very comfortable with taking, you know, exceeding the 60% rule out of that, you know, ordinance, then I'm saying, so be it, you know. But
I
just think that, you know, that we ought to take a good look at it, and I probably agree, Al. You know, but I'm looking at it from both sides of the fence. I'm trying to look at it from both sides of the fence. So,
if you're wrestling, and I don't know that you are, you could also send it back to planning, get their input.
We need to get this done now.
It's been there long enough.
Yeah.
Well,
We were doing it when I was on planning.
That was a long time ago.
And
I was
it's
doing
been-
when I was on planning too. We've been doing this a long time. And this is where we got stuck before. I thought it was kind of taken care of, and apparently it wasn't. And the intent, again, was everything that was in existence prior to the ordinance being rewritten. And anything after 2006 would follow the ordinance to the letter. Did that make sense?
Well, but that's what a non-conforming use is. The things that weren't in effect.
Right.
Date the ordinance.
Right.
I have not heard anything about restoration of damage that was intended to be more lenient than what we've done. But again, regardless of whether it was done before or not, you can do it today. You've got that right. So now the question is, do you want to, and keep in mind, because of the rarity, I think this is general pressure towards conformity. And if you want to take out that pressure towards conformity, you can take it out. If you want to leave it as is, leave it as is.
Personally, I wouldn't take that out, but I would add to the bottom paragraph, including commercial, general business, and industrial. We have one little tiny, tiny corner of industrial. That maybe is not a thing to do, but we don't even have an industrial use right now.
But if you take it, put in all the exceptions, you might as well just take out the 60% rule, because that was not applying to anything.
Less words.
Right,
Yeah.
I think what it's saying, I'm understanding it, is, it's how I want it.
Get rid of the 60%?
This is the new, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Without including general business and commercial.
What we're talking about is up about the third line down with
Right.
it. Yeah, I see that percent stuff.
This is where the confusion comes in. It is an issue, trying to understand for sure what we are doing. And isn't it funny because we've done it enough?
I didn't know that taking the 60% out was even part of the question. I thought it was strictly to make sure that business was covered.
That existed prior to the
Right.
ordinance change.
That businesses could rebuild if something happened. I guess I didn't understand that you're saying you want to take out the 60% or 2 times the assessed.
I don't think I did either. Because I thought the bottom paragraph was pertaining to existing, not new structures.
It is all about existing. Anything new, you know, you gotta,
Right.
when you, across the street, that vacant land, I mean, it has to meet the new conforming.
Right.
It's for the existing.
You're just talking
For
about,
lack of better words, it's the old town.
yeah, how much general, and again, this probably applies to anything that was built, I mean, because this came in 2006, but we had that interim, well, I guess that was 2006.
2006.
Most of the, parts of this were rewritten in 89.
Right.
Yeah, so but now it's, how much guidance and how much pressure do you put on older uses to bring up to the current ordinance standards? You've made some fairly significant exceptions here so that they can be rebuilt. Residences always, and commercial, industrial, and general business can be rebuilt as long as the damage wasn't greater than 60%. You clarified how the 60% is determined, which I'm very happy for, because it's a lot easier to understand and interpret and apply.
Well, that's what I said. I'm happy with it, just the way it is.
You don't want to add the
Change.
businesses?
It's already in there.
No, it's not, not conforming, Cindy. Not in the bottom paragraph, that is not in there.
I thought that's what you changed it to.
No,
No.
it's
It would
strictly
be.
residential.
A business, a non-conforming, a business that is a non-conforming use or a business that is housed in a non-conforming structure, that structure would have to be brought into conformity if it had been damaged greater than 60%.
Right, but if not, it can be
If
repaired.
it's not damaged greater than 60%, it can be rebuilt
And the same.
and preserve those same aspects that were non-conforming, whether it be use or structure or setback,
Exactly.
So
whatever the case may be.
to get where we want to get, we need to strike that exceeding 60%. Is that?
No.
If you were to say that you wanted all businesses and all properties, I could get this paragraph down to 5 lines. I mean, I would start over, because now you don't.
What's the difference between all properties and properties, businesses and uses existing prior to 2006?
This is in the non-conforming section ordinance. So this paragraph only has application to non-conforming businesses to begin with, so it only applies to a small subset right now. Well, it may not be that small, but it only applies
It's
to a
very
subset
small.
right now.
It's very small.
Not
Honestly.
really small.
The businesses?
Well, businesses,
Businesses, but the area where the businesses
No.
could be aren't.
but the businesses aren't the only thing that's non-conforming in the
Oh
residential.
my gosh, no. There's so many applicable non-conforming things all over the township.
I mean, Stavros burnt
Right.
in
Oh,
'99.
jeez. Sorry. I thought I left it in the office. Oh. Sorry.
I don't think that that could have been rebuilt under this ordinance.
I don't either.
What would have been wrong with it?
It doesn't meet the requirements.
For setback parking?
Setback, I don't know about parking, I don't know. I mean, it has to be figured out, but
In-
it probably doesn't have enough parking.
And how big,
I don't think it does.
Probably doesn't.
how big,
Mm-mm.
I mean, I don't know where the property boundaries are, but if it's a setback issue, it usually means shrinking the building footprint a couple feet. And again, I don't want to pick on Stavros, isn't it? But-
Well, I just use that for example, because that was one that burnt, before the ordinance. I mean,
Right.
it was worked out. Jerry Dawson was the building inspector at that time. I don't remember if they
Had a
made
ZBA hearing or
ZBA,
something?
I don't remember.
I don't either.
I don't think we
So
have
you
to-
take it and you say, okay, guys, you need 10 foot on either side, you've got 6 and you've got 8. So you shrink the building 6 feet or you go to ZBA. I mean, and this is where it comes into, do you have avenues if strict application is harsh.
Yeah, without,
Pepperoni Cow couldn't be rebuilt.
but let's just say now, okay, they gotta go to the ZBA.
That's 3 people.
Maybe, yeah, that's leaving it up to 3 people. It could go either way. Yeah, he's got to spend money, fight money to go to court to try to get a judge to reverse it or whatever. That's the stuff, I mean, they've already, and I'm just gonna use Stavros because it happened, I mean.
Or they can come back to you and ask them to change the zoning.
Yeah.
You know, if it's-
Well, no, it's not, it's not.
Well,
It's all stuff they gotta do, I mean, they've lost their livelihood. And, it's just one thing after another, I mean, especially in the businesses up here, I mean, we're not talking a business that's owned by General Motors or,
And we're not talking for a graduate with multiple,
3 minutes
multiple.
under somebody.
yeah, I mean, we're talking family businesses basically here.
And all we're talking about is allowing the building to be rebuilt, because everything else would have to it would have to use the building codes, everything.
Well, the building codes,
Yeah.
you have to meet
Yeah,
them.
we do.
Section of the building code.
You want them to meet building codes for safety. So.
Right.